The B58 has been disappointing. Everybody told me, downpipe tune B58, nothing is beating it. Well, when I went downpipe tune with this car, it's still lost compared to my downpipe tune S55. Well, it wouldn't lose anymore because the S55 blew up. But for this video, we have something from Bimmer Network that is going to make this car not as much of a slowpoke. And that part is right here. We have an E85 flex fuel kit for the Supra, and then we're gonna flash the car with MHD for the flex fuel tune, and we're gonna get some 6130s on an E blend instead of pump gas. So what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Bimmer Network and I have made a goal to make this car the fastest car in the collection. And we have started off in December where we put on their upgraded billet intake manifold, and that has dropped IATs a ton. But today we're hoping to drop our 6130 time a ton. Right now this car has only experienced pump gas, and its 6130 on pump gas was 10.7 seconds. Now when we throw some E in there, I think we can drop that time down a lot and maybe beat the M4's fastest 6130 when it wasn't blown up. All right, now what's cool about this flex fuel kit is the instructions are right here. Scan that, and then this whole process should be pretty simple. So for starters, let's disconnect the battery. Now obviously we gotta get the engine cover off, and then there's this cover on the back of the engine that I just took off that covers up this fuel line. Then I think we should have access to what we need to tap into with the sensor. Now what the plan is now is we're gonna be replacing this line right here with this line. And to do that, there are two clips on either side of the OEM line that you take off, and then it looks like we just put a rag underneath and you should be able to pull it off. I think there's gonna be a lot of fuel coming out, which means gloves, because fuel really likes to crack your skin. Now the first clip was kind of easy to take off, but the second clip was right behind our upgraded intake manifold, which is a lot bigger than stock. So what I ended up doing was disconnecting the whole line from the high pressure fuel pump, which made it a whole lot easier to get that last clip off. After that, the next step was to put on the flex fuel sensor, all the new lines, and then put it back into the car. Which then came the electrical. We had to connect the harness to the flex fuel sensor and then weave the harness behind the engine bay through the firewall to then access the wire underneath the glove box so that I could pin the whole thing into the car. Okay, we are 50% through the depinning process. Basically what I did was I had to pull out pins from these two harnesses and then pin them into this plug. And now we gotta put these pins back in their spots, and then this plug goes in to here, this plug goes into here, and this goes here, and yeah, it's confusing. Let me just get it done. Okay, wiring is all done and the carpet is put back. Now it's time to see if fuel starts spraying everywhere. I think we're okay. I guess the next plan is, let's go ahead and flash it. Okay, so we got our Harbor Freight battery tender plugged in to the car. So this will keep it at the right voltage so we don't brick the ECU mid-flash. So now I have to log in to MHD. So then there's a thing called CAN bus ECA preset. We select MHD ECA and then enable flex fuel. Map right. It's flashing. Almost there. Coding success. Clearing codes. Success. Wait 30 seconds. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and get some E85. Okay, we're gonna put some heat in the engine real quick. We're gonna go pick up Remy because he loves this car. This is like his second favorite car out of all the cars I have. So we're gonna pick him up and see what he thinks of E40 because if he reacts, that means that it's a noticeable difference. We also got my passenger princess, a fire extinguisher, just in case, even though we have no leaks. So let's give it some heat and then get going and get some 60 to 130s. Oh no, I may have spoken too soon. What is that for? Now obviously I was not going to run and get E85 with a check engine light on, so I ran the codes. And there were 3 codes I found. 2 of them are apparently normal MHD faults, both for the radiator, but my radiator is functioning fine. I've never had any issues with it. But the one that was bothering me was an MHD plus fault, which was for the CAN sensor. Now this flex fuel sensor connects to your CAN plugs, and that's what I tapped into earlier, all those wires. So instantly I thought there had to be something wrong with the wiring that I did. So I brought the car back into the shop, texted Remy and told him I sadly could not pick him up, and then started diagnosing everything. The plug connecting to the sensor was fine, all the wiring was correct, no pins were broken, and even the module was lighting up the right way. Kept trying to clear the codes, and the check engine light instantly kept turning back on, until about an hour after diagging the whole thing, I just gave up and went into the next day. Well, good morning. It is a new day, and it is a good day because I have some good news. So last night, you and I went over the whole car and the wiring, confirmed that it was all done right. Well, then I got a message from Bimmer Network this morning, and they told me that what I might have done wrong is selected the wrong ethanol content analyzer. So I selected the MHD one because the TMS kit looks like the MHD version. Well, I think it might pin into some different pins, not quite sure, than the MHD because I didn't have the MHD, so I don't know. But when we flash the car, we have to select Zytronics, not MHD for the content analyzer. So I have the battery tender hooked back up to the car. Everything's plugged in, I checked. So now let's flash the car again, change it to Zytronics, and see if that light goes away. Okay, so we're gonna go on the MHD, flash an MHD map, and see that right there, it says MHD ECA. We wanna hit Zytronics ECA. Then we're gonna right map. Success. Look at that. It's working. I think it's time we let the car warm up and then we're gonna go out. It's raining, which sucks, so I don't know if we're gonna get 60 to 130s or spin. Now, Remy left town, sadly, so we have our next best option, which is equally best. We're gonna pick up Jean, and we're gonna take him for a ride with this car and get E85, and then try and get some times. Welcome back. I had to get a little test feel of what pump gas feels like before we go get E85. As you can see, my best friend John's in the passenger seat, and honestly, his reaction to the fast cars is a lot more fun than Remy's because you aren't in them as much. And when you are in them, you're passing.
And when we are in them, we have the worst possible road conditions. No, and 5 p.m. traffic.
It's Mexico right now, though. Like, the roads will clear up once we get a little bit farther down from the border. Oh yeah, also, since I messed with fuel, you're in charge of that.
Okay.
You know, good thing it's not that cold out, or else we'd lose traction really bad.
Good thing it's nice and dry, too.
Come on, 6.5. Oh, there we go. And now we just wait. All right, we are all pumped up, and now we are cruising around. We gotta let the E85 mix with the pump gas, and that can take a couple minutes because currently we are still sitting at E9, which is what pump gas reads. So it's gotta cycle through the flex fuel sensor and mix inside the tank. And once we get around an E30 to E40 mixture, we can then do some real pulse. Okay, we are currently sitting at E43 and it hasn't moved in a couple minutes. So that is what we are sitting at, E43. Let's go ahead and give it a little test pull. Yep, that's quicker. I think it's going to smash its previous times. I'm starting to feel it now. Not gonna lie, in that first pull, I was like, yeah, it kind of feels the same. But now, that puts you in your seat. Oh, this car is so fun. E85, game changer of this car. Before, this car was the slowest car, like, out of all the cars I have, except the Camry. Camry makes 3,000 horsepower, but it can't put it to the ground, so it always feels slow no matter what. But this car, like, I'm never gonna drive this car without a blend, I feel like. This car just is so much different. Now, there is one more thing I wanted to try. With E85, it is slightly easier to shoot flames. And after those pulls we did, the exhaust is pretty hot. So, Jean, do the honors. Let's see if we can shoot some flames. What the heck? That is so weird. It doesn't pop on E. Because if we go on the freeway right now, we'll get a lot of pops. Like, we'll get a lot of pops right now. It loses on third. Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't pop when we're revving. This car is fast. Okay, the road's dry here. We gotta get one. We gotta try it. Before in the rain, we did 10.7, 60 to 130. Today in the rain, 9.86. Almost a full second off. And that's proof that E85 makes a huge difference. A second? And that's up high. Down low? Nuts. But that is one clean one. Don't want to risk another one. But now we got about 2-hour drive to the border and then another day drive, and we should be home just in time for Jean's business meeting. Well, we are home and the car is in the shop, and I am happy to announce we have no fuel leakage whatsoever. Now, you might be saying that the 6130 tonight wasn't the greatest, and I will agree. But there are a few things that you gotta take into account. One, we were driving in the rain, and two, in Mexico, where we were, the DA was pretty high. It was almost 2,000 feet, which plays a huge role in your times. But another thing that plays an even bigger role is where I was shifting. Just like the M4 with this car, you have to shift early, not at 7,000, which is red line. And I didn't figure that out until after I got home. This car's power tanks significantly after 6,400 RPM on the stock turbo. So we should have been shifting at around 63, 62, maybe even 64, and that would keep us in the power band throughout the entire run and probably get us a faster time. So that's something to know for next time when it's warmer and we do this again. But the car is faster. which is very, very exciting. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm only gonna be running this car on blends. It is so fun and such a game changer. If you want this TMS Flex Fuel Kit from Bimmer Network, there's gonna be a link in the description, and use my code. Or if you want anything to make your B58 a beast, Bimmer Network is the way to go, and they are amazing to work with. And we are not done. This is a stepping stone. The next step is port injection, and then maybe a big old turbo. So you better subscribe and be ready, because this car is far from done. But with that being said, I think that's gonna be the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and the bell. And also, maybe don't choose to do what I did in doing 6130s in the rain in Mexico, because it's not the safest. I'll see you guys next time. Drive safe.